Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Financial Investor channel. My name is Brent, and today we're going to be talking about yesterday's Market Monday and the mishap that took place after hours. Now, in the early morning hours, everything was going great. Pre-market, most of the markets were doing really well. The pre-market Nasdaq had an increase of 0.17. The S&P 500 and the Dow Jones were up. I know my portfolio was up throughout the entire day. And then something took place in the after hours that really knocked everything down that was gained through the day and then some more. So the Nasdaq during market hours had an increase of 0.28% today. The Russell 200 followed right behind with an increase of 0.35% today. The S&P had an increase of 0.05% today. So it started off really nice and strong and then struggled to keep above. And then in the after hours, all the markets went down about 0.5% today. The Dow Jones had a really nice day as well. My portfolio is basically sort of a mixture in between the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. I believe mine had a really nice market day compared to both of these, but then during the end of the day, everything tumbled here. And what caused it to tumble? Well, here we go in the after hours. We can see that the U.S. stocks, S&P 500 fell 0.49% today, the Nasdaq fell 0.59% today, and the Dow Jones had had an increase of 0.37% falling down. So there was, the Hurricane Harvey that's been taking place across, well, not across Texas, but in certain parts of Texas that has caused some damage, which has affected some stocks. You can see the Exxon here. I believe it went down 0.33% today, and that's, it's not anything terrible. The main reason that a lot of the stocks and markets had gone down wasn't really that the stock market. So here's an article. The stock market closes little changed as Hurricane Harvey hits the energy sector. So the article is basically saying that even after a huge hit to the energy sector, Exxon and a few other energy stocks, the stocks were not hit very hard, but something did happen today in the after hours and throughout the day that caused the markets to kind of tumble. And here we go again, another huge Exxon oil refinery damaged by heavy rain from Harvey. You can see the inside of here is just completely tore out. It's been flooded in and kind of ripped apart there. Now, the main thing that took place today was that the markets all sort of went down under in the after hours. So here, Kramer's remix from CNBC is here's how North Korea launched a missile this morning, or in the future, I would say, because I believe North Korea is 19 hours ahead of the U.S. or at least where I'm at. Anyways, they launched a missile this morning that was aimed towards Japan. Now there was a big worrisome that took place in Japan as the missile had flew over and broke up into several pieces and then crashed some miles away from any of the land. So it didn't actually hit anything there, but people were still asked to stay inside, look out for the debris that was falling, and that caused a bit of a market, it did affect the market. Now, there's a breaking here, the Asian markets sink. And let's go ahead and just take a look at that article real quick. So Asian markets sink after North Korea missile launch. Demands for safe haven assets rises. So North Korea fired a missile that flew over Japan on Tuesday. Prices of the traditional safe haven assets, including gold and the yen, were supported early on Tuesday. So here it just talks about how many of the different currencies fell. So it talks about how the KOPSI tumbled 1.03%. The Aussie index fell 0.75% today, and the Japan's Nikkei dropped 0.72% today. So many of these markets in the Asian markets fell, along with I believe this is the Australian market, ASX. That would make sense. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the world map, and we can see that China probably took the biggest hit today. Just as the article saying, China, you can see here that the Baidu took a negative 2.46, and these are just during market hours. This isn't after hours. I'm not sure if this includes after hours. I'm sure if we take a look at Baba after hours right there. I don't believe this is going to tell me any of the after hours. Oh yeah, here it goes. So in the after hours, it went down an additional 1.41% today. So quite a bit that happened there in the after hours, along with Canada and Colombia and the U.S. and many of these other markets just in the U.S. or in the world. So something else that was talked about here in an article is, will the Fed pop the stock market bubble? And basically, we've been in a 9-year pattern where stocks have just grown faster than the economy has been able to handle, and we're at a position now where we can't really calculate the valuation of the market for the long term. So this article kind of goes through and talks about how the current stock market bubble will pop and what has caused it to pop, and how did the bubble get created. Well, it talks about how the concentrated policy by the central banks, which are all owned by, mainly a couple people. The central banks are in every single country in the world besides 4, and that's North Korea, Russia, Syria, I believe, and one other. So not very many central banks, or not very many countries remaining without central banks. So those who control the central banks around the world decided to begin investing in riskier investments, and that caused an economic growth that we're not sure what the full effect of it will be. So all these central banks are putting this money into riskier investments, which may or may not pop, and it will, because we all know that the market always takes a dive, and this is probably something that is pretty much planned. If you take a look at the investors with billions of dollars, they've actually taken their money out of the US and moved it over to the European economy. So that is something fun. I think I'll have this article here in the description below if you guys would like to take a read at it. And I'll leave Kramer's article in the description below. And I believe that's about it. So just a pretty heavy day in the markets today. During the actual market hours, it was completely fine, and then everything just sort of tumbled in the after hours. So hopefully everyone didn't lose too much. You made some and then you lost some, but think of it in the long term, right? So that is it for today. I want to thank everyone for watching up until this point. If you did like the video, hit the like button. Please remember to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. And if you have any questions or want to say hello, please leave a comment and I will always reply. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.